I do not know why, but in both of my previous Building Strangerville videos, I have said that the next video would be the plaza. It's not. It's the trailer park. I have completely blanked on the existence of this poor trailer park twice now, to the point that when I opened this project to look at it, I went, oh, it's the trailer park. What is it about Slip 42 that my brain refuses to acknowledge the existence of it? Why is that? Yes, I do name my lots random things and then I rename them when I'm done. Thank you for asking. So for this one, I had a really good look at the Strangerville Slip 42. I love that area with the trailers and cars, ironically, just to really rub salt in the wound, you know? I love the way it looks. There's 6 trailers, I think, might be 7. 7. There's 7 trailers. A couple of them have these little guarded areas, which I think is just adorable. And they're nice. I like them. And the more I looked at them and the more sad I was that you couldn't do anything with them. You can't live in them. They don't even have NPCs living in them as far as I know. They just sort of, well, they're shells, aren't they? Much like the rest of Strangerville, they're just shells. They don't exist. They're not real. They are there to make the world look nicer, which I get. But they feel like a missed opportunity. Which I guess is why there's a big sort of CC type called the missed opportunity custom content, because a lot of Sims 4 feels like a missed opportunity. So going into this, I knew I couldn't make them actual like trailers, like cars that could be like hauled along. So I decided instead I'd try and make them just tiny home type trailers and just try and make them as close to the style in Strangerville as I could. As I've said before, and will no doubt say again, I can't make this like identical to Strangerville, so I just have to go with the feeling of it and hope that I can achieve what I want to achieve with it. So for example, I have some custom content for apartment doors. You can't have custom apartment doors, but what you can have is like a little milk crate. And you put the milk crate outside the apartment door and you can change the apartment door to any door that you have. And I think that's really cool. I like that. So I've used just normal apartment doors, and then maybe I'll be able to swap them to like custom content or something with the milk crate later on. You can actually use the milk crate and then not package it with a lot and the doors stay the same, but I'm not saving these as an apartment because then it's easier to zone as an apartment after you've got it than it is to zone it back into residential, as far as I know, because The Sims 2 is weird. And so I don't really want I don't want people to be stuck with what I've created quite the way that my brain shut off. I don't want people to be stuck with this. I want them to be able to put in their own custom content if they want to before they start, or something like that. Like I say, I'll probably go through all of it and add custom content to it later on to sort of make it a little better, just improve it a little bit. I wish I had more hood deco. I'm using the Strangerville skyline, which looks nice. Don't get me wrong, I like the Strangerville skyline, but I wish I'd had more hood deco to start with. Well, you live and you learn, don't you? So I made individual trailers. I wanted to think of them as caravans. At least that's what we call them over here. I don't know if you guys call them caravans quite the same way. We call them caravans. So I wanted them to be small and just like 1 bedroom with a, like, even smaller than Brandy Broke's trailer, which I've always thought is a really big trailer. I've always thought Brandy Broke's trailer is really big. A couple of them ended up bigger than the really, really tiny ones. A couple of the really, really tiny ones ended up minuscule. I put in like seating. I was actually really happy with how this looked. I used the Nightlife, I think, modular sofas, and a Strangerville table. I think it's a Strangerville table. And I really liked how it worked out. I used most of the same colors on the inside to make it look a bit metallic. like the inside of a trailer. I used relatively flat roofs, but I didn't use like an actual flat roof. I thought it looked better with a normal roof, whatever. Like I say, I really like how it looks on Strangerville. I'm not disappointed with how it came out on my build. There's a few things I may have done differently had I had custom content, and there's definitely a few things I would have done differently if I was doing this in The Sims 4. But if I was doing this in The Sims 4, then the truth is, actually, I don't think I would do it in The Sims 4. The Sims 4, there's not enough room to maneuver. There's too few lots. Like when I was putting the world together for Strangerville, I put down the lots that I knew had builds in The Sims 4, and then I went across to the map and just made sure they were all lined up, and then I looked at it and it was so empty. It was so barren, and I realized that I was absolutely going to end up building the shells as actual builds in this, which, deciding that I was going to do that do you ever want to go back in time and just shake yourself and be like, why was this a project you decided to take on? Like, oh yeah, a massive undertaking for a 17-year-old game. I don't know if anyone's gonna really care about Strangerville conversions. Someone did say that it would fit in nicely in Strangetown, which, yeah, agreed. So even if no one wants like a Strangerville conversion, it's possible they'll like the individual lots for Strangetown. But oh my god, it's when you sit and you look at Strangerville and you look at how nice it looks, and then you look at the fact that the individual lots, as nice as the individual lots are, the things that you can't interact with are far more interesting. Slip 42 is really cool, but I really like the area around it, the trailers, the little areas, the whole. I love all of that, and knowing that nothing there is actually real is just depressing. Yeah, that went on a little tangent, didn't it? Nothing is real, everything is permitted. Anyway, so turning it into something real on The Sims 2 was actually really nice. And comparing it to... Sorry, excuse the fact my camera just went flying off into the void for a second there. Comparing it to Strangerville, I really wish that more of Strangerville was playable. I wish they'd go back and refresh, like, well, everything. I wish they'd go back and refresh everything and just add more playable areas to pretty much every world, but especially Del Sol Valley, Strangerville. I think Midnight Hollow is the only one I'm not too salty about, because Midnight Hollow is like a really sort of, it feels like less of a town and more of like a place that sort of comes off, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a cul-de-sac off of other areas rather than a town of its own. So I don't really mind Midnight Hollow that much. And the one from Realm of Magic, I have feelings about the one from Realm of Magic, but I've never played it much. Glimmerbrook? Is it called Glimmerbrook? Glimmerbrook? I just wish that the worlds were bigger. It just feels like, I think I would rather have fewer worlds, bigger, or, see, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because of the gallery feature in Sims 4, I think I would actually genuinely prefer to have lots and lots of worlds with just as many builds, but more empty lots. So, for example, actually, let's use Strangerville, for example. So Strangerville, I would be a lot happier if most of the areas on the lots were buildable, but empty. And then the important bits had houses. And then I'd come along, I'd be able to go onto the gallery and I'd find builds by Plumbella or Lil Simsy or whoever, and I'd be able to put those builds into my Strangerville and bulk it up, rather than ending up with only sort of 6 to 10 builds, but also 6 to 10 lots, and not being able to do anything with it. I don't know, it's just, I always feel claustrophobic when I look at Strangerville and Del Sol Valley and all the rest of it. I just feel claustrophobic because they look so beautiful and they're not real. Nothing about them is real. Ugh. Also, you've probably noticed by now the amount of times I have shrunk this house. I was counting the tiles on Sims 4 and I've shrunk it so many times and it still looks really big. Maybe the tiles are bigger on Sims 2. Are the tiles bigger? It just seems bigger. It isn't. I swear it isn't, but it seems it. Also, I couldn't find an awning that looks good, so you just end up with that one. It looks absolutely diabolical, but that's okay. Maybe I should have done like a floor panel. That might have looked better. Oh well. But I did it. Anyway, by the time I'd added in some terrain paint, just sort of made it less crappy looking on the floor. I am missing a few things here and there, solely because I don't have the content for it. I don't have the custom content for it. But by the time I was done with it, I actually really like how it came out. I like how it looks, and I like the comparison between it and the one in Strangerville. If I could move stuff around like you can on Sims 4, I probably would move the Slip 47 house just a little bit over. But that's okay. You know, nothing's perfect in this world, especially in Sims 2 where you can't move things. But I'm really happy with how it came out. It looks really nice on the neighborhood screen. I think it works as a Slip 42 trailer park with individual apartments, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individual apartments there. And I did use the Strangerville conversion of the listening device. It's not functional as a listening device, obviously, but it's functional as a computer, which I think is pretty cool. Not as good as Monique's hacked computers, but that's okay. And yeah, I really like how it came out. I'm really happy with it. If you like it, it will almost definitely be up on my Patreon to download. If you like my content and my builds and my project, please consider supporting me on Patreon. You'll be able to see my videos a little bit in advance of them being posted. Thank you ever so much for watching. Leave in the comments which your favourite trailer was, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!